you guys? Welcome back to Coming In Hot with Caroline. Please don't forget to like, follow, review, all the good stuff. You know we appreciate you so much. So today we have a special episode. I am so excited to have my gorgeous, beautiful assistant here, Kaila. Well, I really call her my right-hand man. But Kaila Taylor is in the house.
Hi, guys.
Kaila. Hi, my
nervous.
lovey. Are you nervous? Okay, so we want to dig deep just because I think multi-generational relationships are so important. And I think people always want to know the behind the scenes. How does this all work? And also, how does this message direct itself to you in your age group? Because I think what's interesting is you're in your 20s, 27 now. And I just think it's an interesting perspective, right? And I think it's good to have everyone's perspectives on here. I want to tell this story really quick before we kind of go into your background of how I found you, because I think it's important for people to know.
Shout out to Lori.
Shout out to Lori Briller at Grapevine Agency. If you guys are, of course, looking for any incredible person to assist you in anything, it is the greatest agency. They really get you incredible people. But with that said, I had reached out to Lori. I went to high school with her. And I had a lot of people tell me, you know, just talk to Lori, talk to Lori. And I was always word of mouth kind of a person.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, everybody I had worked with and everybody was amazing. It just wasn't that perfect click. And I think everyone understands that, especially when you're, I think, starting any kind of business or working with people. You're as good as the people that surround you, like whether it's your friends.
I agree with
right,
that.
or the people that you
100%.
work with. It just lifts your business up.
Yeah.
So when I was looking for you, I think this is important for anyone who's looking for somebody to really understand what it is you're looking for, because I know you felt this way too. So that's why I want to go into it, of really having a clear picture of what you think works for you, what kind of person you want working for you. And I think after working with people, I knew my personality traits where I'm very type A. I like things done. I move very quickly. I also like people to feel like family and be a part of somebody's life, grow together. And I think I just hadn't found that. It was always this feeling of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And it's hard to trust that. So for me, when I went to Lori, I said, have you watched the movie Devil Wears Prada? I said, I want Andy. I was like, I want fucking Andy from Devil Wears Prada. I was like, I want somebody who's 2 steps ahead, who has their head on straight, super trustworthy, hard worker, sees the benefit of growing with a company, gets that hustler mentality. And there is something about a hustler mentality. And when we interviewed, she brought me 5 girls, and you were the last one we interviewed. And it was funny because we actually loved everyone. We did. Everybody had their incredible qualities. But when we met you, it was one of these things that it was like an instinct of, it's like, oh my God, I met my person.
I felt the same way.
I was like, oh my God. It was like having a date and you're like, that's my person. And you mentioned something, which I'll let you tell the story. You mentioned something about Devil Wears Prada, and I literally, or no, you mentioned that you had done a book.
Yeah, the closet book.
The closet book.
Yeah, the closet of all of the pieces that she had in her wardrobe and things like that. Yeah.
I literally kicked Jen under the table and I was like, it's Andy. I was like, oh my God, we found her. So long story short, we obviously hired Kaila, and honestly, we've never been happier. I feel like we made the best decision of our lives, because Kaila is this kind of human being, unicorn, so hardworking, but it's true. You're so hardworking. You're so kind. You are just just like a stand-up person. And I see the way you are with your friends. I see how you are with your family, and the love and respect you show your family was so important for us, because how you treat others says everything about you. And just how smart you are, how well spoken you are. I just remember being very impressed and feeling like I knew you already, and like you're like the daughter I never had. It really was that feeling of, this is exactly what I would want my daughter to be like. And how lucky am I to get to spend this much time with somebody. So we hired her. It's been the greatest thing in the world. And I want you to all get to meet Kaila and get to see what she does and what an incredible help she is to us. She's part of our family, and we couldn't do any of this without her. So Kaila, we love you and appreciate you. And tell us a little bit about your background. I know I've been talking for 10 minutes. So tell us your background, your upbringing, because I know you're born and raised in LA. So you're a true LA girl.
Born and raised in LA. Well, Devil Wears Prada is my favorite movie. So even the fact that you cited that in our interview, that was one thing that touched me too, because I've always said after seeing that movie that was the world and just the environment of just, working all the time, but working for someone that at the end of the day you truly like are inspired by, you know? So that was really big for me, and I loved that moment for us.
It was so good.
But I'm born and raised in LA. I have lived here pretty much my whole life. I did live in Dallas, Texas for like 2 years growing up. My mom has some family out there, so you know, she tried seeing if that was an environment that, you know, we could grow up in, but a majority of my family is here, so I've been here. I've gone to performing arts schools my whole entire life. I had a dream of being like an actress or a singer or a dancer, and my grandma was always about, you know, putting me in these activities and stuff, and so I just kind of kept the momentum with that in school. It was fun, you know, like I didn't just do academics. I was, you know, either doing like a theater class or singing or dancing, and it just kept me busy. And I also feel like I've met so many amazing creative people as a result of it. My parents, lovely people. More so my mother. I have primarily been raised by my mom and my grandma growing up, which I think has, you know, made a huge imprint on who I am today in the best way possible. And I think it's for anyone that might be struggling with like not having a relationship with a person.
Parent, like with their dad, if there guardian. Are a lot of young moms, and you know, definitely. Let's say the dad isn't there, but when I see you, honestly, it really is a testament to your grandmother and mother and the work they did, because it is possible. Like, you grew up fucking amazing. So what do you think that was?
I mean, like, my surroundings definitely did influence it a lot. I think you know, my mom and my grandma were very serious about just having me in the right surroundings and the right school. And as a result, I think that I met so many amazing people, and I've always been like observant to my surroundings and, you know, taking everything in, and they've raised me to be a proper person in a lot of different senses. But I think, you know, I've observed my surroundings and I've taken it all in, and I've been a sponge to it, you know, like there's certain things that obviously you don't want to take on with you, but I think that being around the people that I grew up around and just those things definitely has impacted me.
I will say you have a lot of strong women around you, which definitely. I think is really important. Like, all the women in your life, I feel like have incredible jobs. They all work. Like, your mom was a teen mom, correct?
Yeah. She had me when she was 19, and she had my sister shortly after. But she didn't really have the opportunity to go to school. Or I don't want to say opportunity, but, you know, it's different. It's not the same circumstance for everyone. And, you know, school seems easy and attainable for a lot of other people. But as someone who's, you know, gone to college, it can be a lot to have kids and do that at the same time.
Oh my God, I don't even know how people do it.
Yeah, so, you know, she figured out different ways to get a job and, you know, to make money. She was responsible in many senses, but also, you know, she grew up while raising us. And there was a lot of my life where, you know, I was watching my sister, or like you do things where you have to grow up a little bit faster than other people, which like I definitely did like have. And like in the moment
you matured faster, right? Because you did have responsibilities.
Yeah. And like I remember in the moment like being so frustrated, because like it's hard not to compare your life to other people, but comparison really is the thief of joy, you know? But I remember being in so many situations where I was, you know, you see your friends going out, or you see what they're doing. Social media also was like really developing like around this time for me. And, you know, staying home because you have to watch your sister because your mom's going out and stuff. And I think that there was this huge part of me that was resentful for it. But I think that over time, it's like I'm grateful for it, because I think it is like, you know,
probably made you more responsible.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it's true. Like, rather than go party, you had a responsibility at home, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's influenced the relationship that I do have with my sister today. Like, we know that we're always there for one another, and it goes like across the board with like my whole mom side of the family, I like really should say. But it's good. Like, it's not anything that I think I hold on to anymore.
And do you think that influence of watching your mom, your grandmother, your aunts, like they're all very powerful, strong women, do you think that's because, again, what you watch at home, I do think influences you in some way, right?
I definitely do have friends where it was the opposite, where their family has different circumstances than mine were. I'm grateful for it. And I think that it's taken me a long time to get to a place of being grateful for all of the bad that happens, right? Because, like, the bad eventually leads to good, like, in some capacity. You just have to, like, remember that, and like your attitude and your outlook on everything. Like, I think that if I grew up and I reminded myself how different I was than everyone else, like how am I ever going to be on whatever page I may have thought that they were on, you know? So I've tried to not really let that ever
affect you. So somebody watching or listening now, truly in their high school, college years, again, that struggle, right? Because everyone struggles, right? Whatever your circumstances.
Yeah.
And again, you seeing it as you having a positive outlook rather than a negative one really helped you, correct?
It changes. And I know there's so many like cliches and so many people that are just like, you know, like life is what you make it, and just, you know, so many different things. And even being around you, it's like you say get up and get dressed, and it's really inspiring to me. But I'm also watching it happen every single day, and you actually are walking, you're walking
the talk, walk the walk.
Yeah, like you're really doing that, you know. And I just think that don't let anyone other's opinions or, you know, where someone else is at in life deteriorate like anything that you want or anything that you're dreaming of doing. Like, one thing that my grandma always told me growing up was like, you don't have to like have money to look like you do, you know? And like, I just like remember we would go to Marshall's or we would go to Target or we would go whatever, thrift stores, and it's like, I still had the cutest outfit on, you know?
You did.
And just change like the narrative of it. Like, maybe you don't have that brand new like Prada bag. Instead of getting into your head about that, like, what's something else cute that you can get and that you can have? Like, you can start trends. Like, I think that that's what's so beautiful about the world that we live in. And even now, like, there's still things that haven't been invented. Like, there's still like, you know, so many like places and spaces for people in this world. And I just don't think that people need to get so caught up in like, you know, have people that you're inspired by, but like don't inspire to be that person exactly, because you're the only person that you can be. And so you really just have to make the best out of it. And that's something that my grandma has always told me, and it's something that I just
the greatest gift,
myself right?
The greatest flex is you liking yourself.
Yes,
like and the greatest success story.
It is, and it takes time, and like it takes you having good times with yourself. Maybe you don't love the person that you see in the mirror, but like, what can you do differently to love that person? Whether it's like getting new makeup or changing your skincare routine. Like, there's so many things that you can do. That you just have to like.
It's a mindset.
Yeah.
And it's like what you said, it's a choice every day that we have of like, whether it's your circumstance or not, what choice do you have in that of how to react to it and what can you do better in it?
Yeah.
Now, for you in high school, we're in such a weird time. Like when you said like social media was starting, I'm like, I can't even imagine, because all the crazy shit I did, we didn't have any phones. Like yesterday, John and I were talking about it, and we're like, there was no option of us being stuck on a computer all day. Like there was no computer to be stuck on. So it's like things are so different. I can't imagine growing up in this. And I talk to Kaila a lot. I get a lot of advice from Kaila with the boys because she relates to them more than I do, truthfully. I mean, and we talk about their struggles and their things. What were your struggles and something that now watching social media you see as like, thank God I got over that? I know you had issues with your skin, like that's something that you struggled with as a young adult, and now everything is pictures and photos of yourself. Like, how do you get that? Like, what are those struggles when you were younger that you have now overcome and help you in the world today?
Like, keeping up with trends, even, it's like you want like Brandy Melville, or there were these like certain stores, you know, everyone has their stores that were the go-to, whether it's Abercrombie and Fitch, whatever, you know, and you want those things because it seems like that is like the look and the vibe, and like that's what's cool. But there are so many moments where I've taken a chance on something that I'm wearing or something that I'm doing, and it's amazing to see the compliments that I get, or even just someone being inspired by something that I'm doing that's different, because everyone is doing the same exact thing. So I think just channeling more of that and like who you are and what you want to be. Like, we listen to so many voices, and I think growing up I definitely did. It's like there were Form Spring and like so many of these different platforms where you would go and, you know, you could talk badly about people, and it was hard. It's difficult to not let these other voices in. But like, as long as your voice is like louder than like anyone else's, you can't let it get to you. And I have, you know, such an amazing group of friends, and so many of them, you know, do carry this confidence that I admire, because it's like it takes a lot to not care about what other people think. Like, way easier said than done. Like, I would be lying if I said that I don't care about what other people think, you know? But you have to
And you now, because
power
people
in
look at you
that.
now, right? You're like this bombshell. You look absolutely stunning. I mean, you're beautiful inside and out, but you always share with me because you know I struggle with Finn, and you always share with me how it wasn't always easy for you. And I think girls listening, moms listening to girls that are struggling at home that don't feel like they fit in any way, could you tell them what you say to me for Finn?
I'm 27 and it's like I'm just really like starting to love myself. I love where I am at life. Like I have more gratitude for who I am, for my family, for my friends, for just people around me, for my environment, for waking up every single day, going back to being so consumed with just the environment and this constant need to just fit in. It's inevitable. My mom was always there for me, but she wasn't overbearing. I knew that if I needed anything, she was going to be there no matter what. But she let me kind of like soar on my own. Like if I was having like a hard time, if I wanted to talk to her, I knew that she was there. But there are certain things that you just have to grow through and go through on your own. And like I know that that's hard. And we talk about Finn sometimes, and I'm just like, when you're younger, I think that you do seek so much more from your parents to know if you're okay. Like that's who's paying the bills, that's who's doing so many things for you. That's who's making your world go round, you know? So if you're asking your kids like all the time, like, are you okay? Or what's wrong? Or maybe they see that something is wrong and it's not okay. It's just like naturally, you're probably going to think about those things more. And I think that that really goes for everyone. So I think it's like, as long as you're doing your best, and everyone's best looks different. It's not to say that, you know, just because Julie might have just gotten the brand new iPhone or whatever, like those things really don't define a person. And I think that we have to change the narrative of the pressure of making sure that they have all those things, like love and a roof over their head and like food and all those things. Like those things are what matter.
I know, well, it's funny because now it's helicoptering and helicopter parenting where my parents were very hands off also. They really let me kind of struggle through the things I had to struggle for. And I'm like in that in-between stage of you want to save everybody, but at the same time, you know, you want people to be independent and smart and get through things. And I think what's interesting is when you tell me that you were the awkward girl at one point, and I was like, there's no way. I don't believe you.
I wore knee-high
I don't believe her,
socks.
you guys. I wanted her to show me photos.
I will try and find them. And my mom, God bless her, she really like put me in these outfits and like even American Apparel. I don't know if like anyone remembers that they had these skirts and like you had like these belts that you would like wrap around, and she would get me like all these different colors. Like I was different, and not in a bad way. I just wasn't who I am today. And it's just like, you know, you change. And as a result, I still met people who accept me for all different, you know, types of Kaila.
Right, like you're always like, he's gonna meet his people. You're like, stop, you can't force it. And it's like, it's okay to be different, and it's okay to struggle a little bit. Like
absolutely. Because kids are mean.
I know. Why are they so
They're
mean?
so mean. Like
Kaila,
kids are so
awful.
mean, and it's just it's scary. And by all means, like definitely don't ignore all aspects. Like if you see your kid struggling, like I mean, don't just, you know, stay hands off. But I think that like we've talked about it, and it's like if there are clubs that he can be a part of, like what does he love? Like what more things can he do that doesn't have to make him feel so different, you know? And it's like, okay, if he likes, you know, playing games, it's like there are so many clubs in this world, so many different activities and things for kids to do. And I think that that's amazing.
I know, and I think what you just said too, but I think it's good to just zero in is just, you know, when you keep asking, I think this could be with moms, this could be with anyone, right? Even a friend, that if you keep asking them, are you okay? Or what's wrong? Or like, you know, yes, like at some point, you know, you're right. As a child, you would be like, okay, what's wrong with me? Like, I don't know. Like, what did I do?
And to be honest, it goes for anyone. Like, and enough people ask me if something's wrong. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe
or like, what did I do? Like, what do I look
maybe
like? You're right. Like, you're
wrong.
creating something there that you're right. But I just think that's always just great advice about making sure they know you're there. But again, knowing that kids, they aren't who they are, doesn't define them in middle school. Like you have time.
Middle school?
It's nothing. I know. And I look at Kaila now and she's like, I'm literally just now feeling like my best self and who I know who I am. So it's just good to know that there's hope out there, Mom. So I think that's just an important message that
and I'm still learning. I still have so much to figure out. You know, I call my mom like almost every other day. Like, and I also want to say, like, as if there's like anyone that maybe you are surrounded by people that you don't foresee being like the right people for you to be around. Like, it's never too late to change your environment. Like, every day is different. Like, every day brings different circumstances, different conversations. I have such an amazing group of friends, but we know that we're different every single day, you know, and sometimes we talk every single day, sometimes we talk every other day, sometimes we talk every 3 days. It's like, it's okay to take space for you and figure out what it is that you want. And me and Camilla were talking about doing something like every week, because a lot of times it's like you meet people out in the world and it's like, okay, like we'll get dinner, and you never do. It's like once a week, like going to that dinner that you didn't want to, maybe making it a coffee, like whatever it is, just like
making an effort,
you know. You have to show up for you, and as a result, like life does show up back. Like it just does. Yeah.
Where did you get your work ethic from? Because you're like a really hard worker.
My grandma, definitely, and my mom. I've always just seen them working.
You have.
Every
you watch
day
them always.
Of my life. And, you know, where I grew up, I always was around people who were doing such amazing things. And I always knew that I wanted to do something so great. And I wanted to be a stylist. So that was what I thought that I wanted to do. And not to say that, you know, like I love styling. It's great. But my godmother was working for Warner Brothers at the time, and I found out that there was this whole world behind TV where you could style people, and it was very like hands on deck, like, you know. And I was PAing for a while, and I was just like, this is what I want to do. And the only way to really stand out was to work your ass off, right?
Like so girls who want to get involved in this or get started in this business, what is your advice? Because people always think Hollywood's easy. Hollywood and social media is brutal. People think you're not doing shit. You work harder than anybody, you guys. What was it like for you? What is it realistic? How do you get into the industry if somebody is, or someone's daughter is looking to do this?
I think one of the best pieces of advice that someone had told me, they said, what I like about you is that you realize that you're the one that needs the job. Like I was always someone that would like follow up. Like I think we live in a world now where there's like LinkedIn, there's Instagram, you could DM people. Like there's so many different ways that you can, you know.
So show your interest.
Yeah, show your interest. Yeah. Because I think everyone wants a job, you know, like what does make you different? And I really always followed up. I always like made sure like I was helping anything and anyone. Like it didn't matter like who you were or who, like anything. I was just always there, and I would show up early. I would leave late, just keep going. I think that life is funny, and it kind of like tests you. It's like, how much do you want it, you know? And there are a lot of times where, you know, being at the bottom is not easy, you know? And I always like, even doing returns, it was like, if I'm doing returns, I'm gonna do them the fastest and the quickest and the best. Like I always had that mindset with everything, and I think it really did pay off, because when anyone would think about like, you know, staffing and making their team, it was like, well, Kaila will do like everything and she'll make sure that it's done. And I did, and I just always said yes. Like
you always said yes.
Just do it all. And like I was temping at a point. I even was a part of this temp agency, and I would just go around to different jobs because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to work. So I was like, okay, so I did a receptionist. I did so many different things, and I would even meet people, and it's like, oh, you do this.
Didn't you
like,
leave college because you wanted to work?
I mean, there's
in the sense of like you wanted to work always.
I did, you know, I always wanted to do fashion, and my mom, you know, she kind of wanted to do fashion. So I think when I had said that I wanted to do fashion, and I had gotten a scholarship at U of A, so she was like, you should go, and I was like, you know, okay, I'll go, but it just wasn't what I pictured my college experience to be. And I had fun in high school. Like I lived my life. And so by the time that college came, it was like the partying was definitely fun.
Yeah.
But it was really hard to balance like partying and doing school.
Yeah.
And so after the first year, I asked my family, I was like, if I came back and worked, would you guys let me come back? And they, you know, weren't really for it, but they let me do it. And
it's amazing.
While I was doing my general education courses, because that guaranteed that I would transfer like in due time, I took like an additional class on the side, which was a fashion class, and I did this project, and it was like I created like, it was like a brand store concept, and I got an A. Like I literally, not one point was off on this project, and I took it back, and I like, you know, showed my family this like whole report, and I was like, this is really like what I'm good at, and this is what I want to do. And they supported me.
That's amazing. They supported you, honestly. Yeah, because not a lot of parents do.
Yeah. And I think it's good. Like, my grandma even makes comments to this day. She's like, you should get your master's. I'm like, and do what, like, with it? Not to say not to get your master's.
No, right. But I feel like every job you've had to the point where you've come here, and even when you started here, you're getting closer and closer because, like, you starting to learn different things and see different things. And you're kind of like, okay, I find that really interesting.
Yeah.
And, like, you know what I mean? So it's like you're still evolving.
Yeah. And you see what you want. You see what you don't want. You see who you like. You see who you don't like. It's like, it's important to do everything. If you can. I think college is amazing. Like, I think that for me, it was important that I saw something all the way through. Like, I think I did learn something from it, absolutely. But college is also, it costs a lot of money. And I know that not everyone has the same circumstances. So I also want to emphasize, like, there's so much beauty in the fact that you can Google, you can YouTube, you can teach yourself so many things. And we've had this conversation before where I was like, what would you do if someone came in and was like, listen, I didn't go to college, but I got these certificates, or I did, like, you know, I'm inspired by so many people that I see.
I want to hire all moms because I'm like, they're so, like, I was like, somebody who can multitask like a mom. I was like, I don't need your diploma. Exactly. I want to know that you managed a household.
Yeah, there's so many other ways to just like
I think the skill set now is so different, which is fascinating.
Like, I have certain friends that, you know, didn't go to college, and I feel like they'll say certain things to me like, oh, like, I wish I did this, but it's like, you can still learn. You can teach yourself so many things. I'm still learning so many things that I didn't even learn in college that I'm really using today. And you never know too much. Like, you can always learn something. Like, all the time, you know?
So you think this is a good direction?
If you're looking to getting into styling, find your favorite costume designers, find your favorite, you know, wardrobe stylist, and see where they are and how they're working and what they're doing, because I think it's a lot of it's word of mouth. That's how I stayed consistent through everything. And, you know, I went on Facebook, and there's Facebook pages for wardrobe stylists. Like, there's work out there.
There's work, right?
There's work out there. So absolutely.
Do your research.
Yeah.
Get involved. Take your classes. Learn. And I would say also, I mean, the experience is key. Like, the more that you do things, the more you practice them, the better you are at them. And I'm telling you, like what you just said, the more you know, the better.
Yeah.
So it's worth it. It's never a waste of time. Ask anybody for a job or to intern and be willing to do anything. Like Kaila said, I just want to reiterate, like, when we started this, knowing how to do everything is so important. I think there's only one thing that I don't know how to do. Like, there's a certain linking thing that I don't know how to do, but everything else, if God forbid something happened, I can still hold up the business. You know what I mean? And I think that's important for women to understand, that it's important for you as a manager, as your business grows, or as you grow as a person, to know how to do everything.
Like,
don't be lazy.
Take observation of every single person's role. One thing is, when I was in wardrobe as a PA, I knew what everyone was doing. And I knew that if I ever got the opportunity to do it, I was going to do it 100%, you know, and I would stay silent, and I would, you know, stay behind or do whatever it is to just take observation. I found a person that I wanted to be on set, and I watched that person, you know, like, I just did anything that I could.
And for this younger generation, I will say, like, again, and Kaila and I talk about this all the time, because we work crazy hours and in crazy amounts of days, and it is really overwhelming. And the one thing we always say is, you know, you have to want it really bad. Yeah. Because the experience, you don't know how long it's going to last. That's what's so scary about it. And I think you do have to be willing to put in crazy, especially when you're younger, and you really can. Like, if you can put in the crazy hours, do it. Like, get that experience and those hours under your belts. I do think it helps. There's always people that want to go home. Be the one that stays late.
And get everyone's names. Like, you know, people underestimate the power of knowing someone's name. Like, people are sometimes so caught off guard by being like, oh my God, like, you, like, remember me, or, you know, smile. Like, just, and listen, I can say that I should, you know, I get into my, like, phases where, like, I'm, like, you know, so focused, but it's like, just say hi to everyone. I think especially living in LA, for anyone in LA listening to this, you never know who you're around.
Agreed.
Ever. Like, you could be sitting at a restaurant and like you don't know who's right next to you. So also be careful with what you're talking about too, because I've heard some girls in conversations and I'm like,
oh my God, remember we were at lunch?
Yes, like what if I knew that person?
No, somebody was telling their entire life work story. And we were like, what if we knew the people you worked with? Like we were like, oh my God.
Talking about like quiet. Talent and everything. I was like, NDA, dying. Like are you okay? Yeah. So I just,
Wait, what was the most fun about growing up in LA? Like, did you see all the celebrities? Did you hang with the celebrities? Like, was it what people imagine when they're watching these movies about LA? Was it that crazy?
Yeah, I do. I really do think it was. It's amazing, you know, growing up here and seeing the people that you're around and the people that you meet and the opportunities that really I've been able to experience. I've lived a really great life living in Los Angeles. And we were talking about this earlier too. It's like, it's changed because I have a younger sister and I see her going out, and now when you go out, the famous people are influencers. It's changed a lot, you know. And listen,
it's crazy. Kind of.
Like having
like a TikToker is more famous now than like Robert De Niro walking in.
Yeah,
legit.
Like you'll go into certain places and you can see, you know, a celebrity in the corner and the difference and just like
the attention.
Yeah, what people see.
Back in the day, you had fun. Let's just say
so much fun.
Okay, so let's just get back. So after working in wardrobe, where did you go from there? How did you start moving your way into social media?
At the same time as working as a wardrobe stylist in once I got into the union, I prior to that was working for a magazine where I was the director of social media. I worked for Modelace magazine. I was producing the photo shoots. I was doing a lot of the brand partnerships. It was really fun, and we would travel a place a month. It was kind of crazy. But from this, so I still was doing this on the side. The strike had happened, so I kept on doing the magazine for a bit. I had been working there for a couple of years, and I was looking for something different. I felt like I wanted to, you know, just kind of explore and see what was out there. I had found Grapevine Agency, and saw a job. And I applied for it. I was actually coming back from Israel and I was going to New York. I was like, I was going through an early life crisis, I would kind of say. I was like, I can't be home. I just need to be everywhere but there. And
We've all been there, ladies.
I had the opportunity to be able to do that. I had friends that had lived in New York, and I was able to kind of be anywhere with the magazine job, and the strike was happening. And I got this job opportunity, and I had done it for about like a year and a half. It wasn't for me. It wasn't. Nothing against it. I just think that it wasn't an environment where I really saw myself growing. And there are certain experiences and, you know, situations that you will find yourself in, and it's not you giving up. It's you
taking care of yourself.
It's you taking care of yourself. You didn't give up. You don't need to be hard on yourself. Like, there are certain situations where you just have to walk away, and I did. And
obviously, you were working for celebrities, so we are going to keep that private. Can you say some of the things that you should say? This is not acceptable. Like, if this is happening at your workplace or somebody's treating you like this, it's time to just. It's okay to walk away from this.
I think it's like really quite simple. Like, if you feel uncomfortable, and there's different types of uncomfortable. There's an uncomfortable that you just know it's not a situation that you need to be in and you just need to go. Like, every single day, I think it's important to challenge yourself, especially within work. Right now, I understand that I'm young. I don't really want to keep on moving to different jobs. I was very set on that. I want to be with a person that I can see myself growing like from. So I knew that wasn't a situation that where am I going to be in 3 years from now? I knew I didn't want to be there. And so that was one thing for me. But don't take on other people's problems, because it's like when you're a personal assistant, yes, do you have to show up like getting someone's coffee or maybe doing something that, you know, there's certain uncomfortable things that you might just have to do, you know? And if you take that role, that's what you ultimately signed up for. But I found myself really unhappy. Like, I also came from a really creative space, you know, where every day looked different to me. And I was very clear, just like how I was with you, with what I was looking for in a job. And I think that it just wasn't what I had anticipated. And I think that I didn't just leave, you know, like I tried to insert myself in areas where maybe we could do more, you know, and some people are just not your person. And I think, like, if you're working in like a company, you know, situation, it's like, I mean, is every day going to be grand and crazy? No. And not every day needs to be perfect and amazing. I wanted growth, and I wanted
and it's hard when it's
change.
one-on-one. It is, we're in tight quarters. It is. You're with somebody in their home.
Yeah.
You know, like yes, you don't want to ever feel uncomfortable. And I'm not even talking about sexual stuff. I'm talking about just being put in uncomfortable conversations. Whether, you know what I mean? Where it is like it's very personal.
And listen, one time we were in a conversation and someone had made a comment about like how quiet I was. Cause you know me, I know when to talk and I know when to,
You're very
just
respectful.
do my work.
Line.
But they had said they made a comment about how I was very quiet and how I just like, did my job, which was a comment that I think should have just been left at like what it was. But they had said, yeah, like, what is it? You're seen but not heard. It was something like that. And
assistance should be seen, not heard.
Yeah, it was
right? Something like that. Yeah.
That is somewhat of a narrative that happens in Hollywood in certain roles. Like, listen, if that's your way of thinking, fine. I know when to not talk or be whatever it is, but you would never say something like that.
Never. That is.
And it was a moment for me where I hated how it made me feel. I can't even explain it to you. I honestly think I left the room and like I started crying. Like,
it makes you feel less than. It does. Yeah. And it's like, that's not okay.
And I put anyone that I'm working with almost above me, What's
interesting is we both see it the same way, where you're always making sure I'm lifted up. And for me, I know John and I are always like, we want to make sure you're taken care of. We want to make sure, like, you want to be making sure that you're improving the lives of your employees. Yes. I personally think.
And there are people out there, AKA you, and AKA other people. Like, so many of my friends have amazing employers and amazing jobs. Like, if you are not treated right, leave. Like, how are you mentally supposed to leave, be happy, live your life, improve your it's not all going to happen.
I personally think your mental health, I think, is more important.
And also you can think about it in this way too. It's like you let go of something, you're making space for something greater to come in. Like,
absolutely.
How am I like supposed to get this if like I'm so consumed with this? It's just like, it's a fact. I was taking a chance. I had never really wanted to work like in a corporate setting. And my family was kind of like, when I even had taken the job, they're like, are you sure? Because every day was different for me, and I was taking commercials at this time and things were slowly starting to pick up. Yeah. So there was also, and I was working on this kids show, but I thought that I didn't like the chaos, and I did regret it a little bit, and I felt like my
life. Don't worry, we brought it back.
Yeah, and we did. Yeah, absolutely. In a different way, because I was in my head and I was like, oh my God, like, did I make a bad decision? Like, should I have stayed? I would have never met you if I didn't take that opportunity.
Yes.
And I always say it's so annoying when people are like, everything happens for a reason, because it's like, okay, like, shut up, because that reason isn't like around, but like, really?
It is.
It does come around eventually.
It was literal perfect timing. It was interesting how we both put it into the university at the exact same time. Yeah. Both knew exactly what we wanted. And honestly, the stars aligned, because it was like immediate, hired. We were like, thank God. And we've been together ever since.
Yeah. And also speak up for what you're looking for, because I was like, I want something else, so I was actively looking for it. Like,
you got to visualize it, you got to put it into the universe. Like, you do have to know. It isn't just gonna fucking knock on the door. It's not. You have to know. And listen, I know I'm not a perfect person. John's not a perfect person. What people want to know, what is it like working for us?
I mean,
you can be honest, because I know I can be tough.
Honesty,
to like
always.
We're both Capricorns.
Yes, we are both Capricorns. We're very similar. I think that I got really, really, really lucky, and I think obviously the feeling's mutual, like we really do work so well with one another.
We really do.
I'm just so comfortable with you. I can't really imagine a day not talking to you, and we fun.
FaceTime on the weekends. We do, like lunatics.
And one thing for me, and it's so crazy, you're on wheels. I have to keep up with you, and it's so crazy. And you're like, well, I don't want to really slow down. I want to do everything. I'm here. I was so inspired by that conversation, because I was like, okay, there has to be something wrong with me, because like I'm 27 and I'm talking to a 52-year-old who shows up every single day.
Oh,
and it motivates me. I have a reason, obviously. Like, there are multiple reasons that in my life, and I'm very fortunate of it, but it's fun and it's crazy and it's different and it keeps me on my toes. Like Instagram and social media, it's like every day I'm like, does Meta like me today? I don't know, you know? Like,
we just don't know.
Yeah, and every day is different, but I'm learning and I think it's so fun. And I never really pictured myself doing social media, so it's really crazy to be doing it, but it's so fun.
I mean, she really started, like, we were really looking for like an assistant, somebody to like handle all the returns, all the things, and we were just so overwhelmed. And then we caught on real fucking fast that you were so smart and that you could pick things up quickly. And I would say why you're saying always speak up, because she was a go-getter, and something that we were always so impressed by was she always came with ideas and always would be like, hey, I stayed up to learn this, or hey, I found out about this, or hey, do you want to try this app? Like, we could see the eagerness to learn, which is John's favorite. And her speaking up and wanting to learn things, we quickly knew, okay, she's the social media manager. Like, she's going to be part of our company. She's going to be running, like, we want to run an agency. Okay, this is going to lead into owning a piece of the company. Like, we want to see this grow. We picked that up quickly. And that's why it's so important to speak up. It's so important to show if you're interested, because if you're interested, do the work, like show up, because people, I know for me as an employer, I really appreciate that. And it's like, we talk about that now. And, you know, it means everything, because I think being able to grow and build something together from the ground up is so inspiring. It's such hard work. Like, it is such hard work. We have hard days. Of course we do. But the great thing about Kaila and I is, because I'm sure people are like, that's not perfect all the time. No, of course not. But we apologize. We communicate. We talk. Yes, we cry. We, you know, we're two women that love each other, respect each other. We're working 24/7. She helps me make all my dreams come true. And I'm forever,
make mine.
I know, but I'm forever grateful. And, you know, for all the, like, for all the hard, it's like nothing compared to the good. And it's like, I couldn't imagine traveling with anyone else, like sharing a room or a bed with anyone.
Literally. But seriously, you inspire me. I feel inspired. And that's why it's just like, if you don't see yourself growing in an environment, leave. There's so much room for creativity and ideas. And like, I brought them to you, and we do things with it, or you'll come back to me and you make me think logistically about certain things. I feel so nurtured and like where I am right now, and I just know like I can grow. I feel myself growing. I want to grow, and I want to be here, and I think that it's possible, and I think anyone can find it. I mean, I'm never leaving.
I told her she's never leaving me, and I made her sign a contract. You guys, okay, one last question, because I think this is a really important one. Perspective of Caroline's message for you and your generation and your friends.
We find it cute to wear workout clothes, and I would go anywhere in a sweatsuit and not even give thought to really much of my appearance prior to really working with you. And this is serious. Like, I really want to know, because you and your friends talk about it. I would love for you to just say what you have to say. Seriously do. And so, you know, obviously all my best friends know Caroline, you know, personally. They actually like have met her and everything. She comes and she hangs out with us sometimes.
Oh my God, I love them so much.
But I've just actively been doing it. I mean, when you're around someone who's getting up and getting dressed every single day, I think it would be weird for me to show up in a sweatsuit every day. That just doesn't really feel right. And so I've been implementing a lot of what you say into my life, and it's changing my life, like really for the better. And even, you know, because I live below my best friend, so we see each other every single morning, and she's seen me really get dressed every single day. And I have my friends that are really starting to do it too, and it's amazing. Like, you know, a lot of my friends are influencers, so it's like they're more inspired to get their photos done and get content and do their job, you know, or it makes you show up and feel inspired to go do something after. Like, this is such a beautiful life that we live in. I think that it's really easy to just be so consumed, especially with influencers. And as someone that is an influencer, like, all of my friends, like, they'll just send me some of your stories. Maddie was just telling me how her and Victoria were watching your stories the other day, and she was like, it's just so inspiring. And it's just like, it just is like, there's no reason to not get up and get dressed. There's no reason to not, you know, look and feel your best. And like, we are young right now, so it's like, why are we not making the best out of every single day? And for anyone that's single, because I'm single right now, It's
Gentlemen, she's single.
I feel more confident. I want to have conversations. I'm looking up. I'm not looking down. Like, I'm just more confident in who I am. And, you know, you really do have to like the person that you see in the mirror. And I've had my days. And even if, like, I'm not saying get up and put on a full face of makeup every single day, but even me waking up and showering every morning and putting on, even if it's a little blush or even just doing what makes me feel good. And even if it's me putting on a sweatsuit after, which I do, like if I'm working from home, no problem. It's like, you can do that.
But you make an effort.
Make an effort. And I think that it's really been super inspiring, and I wholeheartedly mean that. Like, all of my friends seriously appreciate you and love you. And I think that multi-generational friendships need to be more encouraged, and just like the advice.
I have so much, you know, what guys don't understand. I will say, it's like, hang out. Like, I go out with her and her friends. When I say, like, when we went to Calamigos Ranch, like, her friends all came up. We had dinner. We were having shots at the bar. We were dancing. Like, we had the time of our lives. Like, you're never too old to have fun.
Yeah,
like,
never.
I'm telling you. And it's like the stories you tell, like the advice you give. Like, we had so many deep conversations. Like, don't underestimate incredible female friendships of all ages.
I value it. I really do.
I do too. I love you so much.
I love you so much.
Forever together. Okay, you guys. Kayla, thank you for being here. Thank you for telling us your story. We love you so much.
I love you.
You guys, we will be back next week with another coming in hot. So please like, review, leave, I don't know, do whatever, follow, whatever is positive. I love you guys. Have the best week, and thank you for listening. Mwah.